The year 2025 marks a bold new chapter in the history of American muscle cars, and no vehicle represents that transition more dramatically than the Dodge Charger EV. For decades, the Charger has been a symbol of raw V8 power, menacing styling, and unapologetic attitude, a car that defined what it meant to drive something that shook the ground beneath it. But with electrification rapidly changing the automotive world, Dodge has decided not to simply adapt but to completely redefine what the Charger stands for in this new era. This is not just a Charger without a gas tank, this is Dodge rewriting its identity and proving that performance doesn't have to vanish with the rumble of a Hemi. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the 2025 Dodge Charger EV, exploring every angle of its design, its cabin, its performance capabilities, the technology that drives it, and what you'll need to spend to park one in your garage. By the end of this, you'll know whether Dodge has pulled off the impossible, creating an electric muscle car that stays true to its heritage while pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the modern age. When you first set eyes on the 2025 Charger EV, it's impossible not to recognize that Dodge has made a deliberate choice to maintain its aggressive personality. Many automakers, when moving into electric vehicles, soften their designs, going for sleek lines and aerodynamic efficiency, sometimes at the cost of identity. Dodge, however, refused to go down that road. The Charger EV is a car that looks like it means business. The front fascia immediately commands attention with a modern reinterpretation of the classic Charger face. You get a wide, muscular stance, a menacing LED light bar that stretches across the front, and a sculpted hood that cleverly incorporates aerodynamic features without losing that tough, old-school muscle car vibe. Dodge even went as far as to integrate subtle cues that harken back to the original late 60s and 70s Chargers. There's that retro-inspired front grille outline, squared-off shoulders over the wheel arches, and a long, sloping roofline that screams coupe, even though this car is designed with practicality in mind. The proportions are unmistakably Charger. It's wide, it's low, and it carries that muscular stance that makes you want to look back at it every time you walk away. But of course, because it's electric, aerodynamics play a much more critical role. Dodge has carefully sculpted air intakes, underbody panels, and sleek mirrors to reduce drag while still giving you that aggressive profile. The rear of the Charger EV is just as striking, with a modern interpretation of the iconic full-width taillight bar, Dodge lettering proudly across the back, and a diffuser that not only looks sporty but actually plays a role in managing airflow. For purists who feared that electrification would erase the visual character of muscle cars, one look at this vehicle is enough to put those worries to rest. This is a car that, even before it moves, has presence. Stepping inside the Charger EV is where things take an even more dramatic leap into the future. Dodge has always had interiors that leaned more toward toughness and straightforwardness rather than luxury, but the 2025 model strikes an entirely new balance. The first thing you notice is the driver-focused cockpit. Everything is angled toward the person behind the wheel, reminding you that this is not just a means of transportation, it's a machine built to be driven. There's a massive curved display that integrates the digital gauge cluster and the infotainment system, giving you a futuristic interface that feels intuitive rather than overwhelming. Graphics are sharp, animations are smooth, and Dodge has infused just enough retro touches in the design of the gauges to remind you that this is still a Charger. Materials inside have taken a serious step up as well. You'll find high-quality leather, suede inserts, real metal accents, and even customizable ambient lighting that allows you to set the mood depending on your drive. The steering wheel is thick and flat-bottomed, perfect for spirited driving, with integrated controls that don't feel cluttered. Dodge even includes paddle shifters, not for gear changes, since this is an EV, but to allow you to adjust regenerative braking levels on the fly, giving you a sense of involvement with how the car manages energy. The seats strike a perfect balance between comfort and performance. They're bolstered enough to hold you in place during aggressive driving yet cushioned enough for long road trips. Higher trims even offer heated, ventilated, and massaging seats, making the Charger EV as much a grand tourer as it is a performance monster. In terms of practicality, the Charger EV impresses more than its gas-powered predecessors. The cabin is spacious, with rear passengers finally getting more than adequate legroom and headroom, thanks to a clever platform design. Because the car is built on Stellantis's STLA large platform, the flat floor layout frees up space and gives the interior an open, airy feel. Cargo space is also generous, with a usable trunk and additional storage up front in the front, something traditional muscle car owners could have never imagined. Dodge is clearly signaling that while the Charger EV is built to thrill, it's also designed to fit modern lifestyles where practicality is just as important as raw speed. Now, let's talk about the heart of the Charger EV, or rather, its electric soul. Dodge has made it clear that performance will always be at the core of its brand, and the Charger EV demonstrates that electrification can take performance to levels that internal combustion engines struggle to reach. Power comes from a dual-motor all-wheel drive setup in most trims, delivering instant torque and breathtaking acceleration. Depending on the trim level, output ranges from an already impressive 455 horsepower in the entry-level versions to well over 670 horsepower in higher trims. And then there's the Halo version, known as the Charger Daytona SRT Banshee EV, where power skyrockets past 800 horsepower, making it one of the most powerful production Dodges ever made. Acceleration is brutal in the best way possible. 0 to 60 times dip well below the 3-second mark in top trims, putting this electric Charger in the same league as supercars while still offering the practicality of a 4-door. But Dodge didn't stop at straight-line performance. Handling has been fine-tuned with a low center of gravity, thanks to the floor-mounted battery pack. Weight distribution is near perfect, and advanced suspension systems give you the confidence to attack corners without feeling like the car is fighting its own mass. Steering is precise, and while some EVs lose connection with the road, Dodge has tuned the Charger to feel alive in your hands. One of the most controversial and intriguing features is Dodge's Fratzonic chambered exhaust. Because muscle cars have always been as much about sound as they are about speed, Dodge engineered a system that creates a unique, synthesized exhaust note. It's not just an artificial sound pumped through speakers, it's a physical system that produces 126 decibels of roar, matching the presence of a Hellcat while giving EV drivers an auditory experience that connects them emotionally to the car. Some enthusiasts will love it, others might find it gimmicky, but it undeniably sets the Charger EV apart from other silent electric cars. Range is always a major talking point with EVs, and Dodge claims the Charger EV delivers between 300 and 350 miles on a full charge depending on trim and driving style. Thanks to fast charging capability, you can recover up to 100 miles of range in just under 10 minutes at a high-speed charger, making long trips far more manageable. Dodge is positioning this car not just as a weekend thrill machine but as a daily driver capable of handling everything from commutes to road trips without constant range anxiety. Of course, with a car this groundbreaking, pricing plays a critical role. Dodge has tried to balance affordability with the cutting-edge technology and performance packed into the Charger EV. Entry-level models are expected to start around $50,000, which makes them competitive against other performance EVs like the Tesla Model 3 Performance and Mustang Mach-E GT. Mid-level trims climb into the $60,000–$70,000 range, offering significantly more power, premium materials, and additional tech. The flagship Daytona SRT Banshee, with its outrageous horsepower and performance capabilities, is expected to cross into the $80,000–$90,000 territory, putting it in line with luxury performance EVs while still maintaining Dodge's value for performance ethos. What makes this pricing strategy so interesting is that Dodge isn't shying away from its identity as the people's muscle car brand. They're offering different trims to cater to a wide audience, from those who simply want a stylish, powerful daily driver to enthusiasts who crave something that can dominate the drag strip. Dodge understands that the Charger's appeal has always been about accessibility, muscle for the masses, and they're doing everything they can to preserve that tradition in the electric age. So, after spending time with the 2025 Dodge Charger EV, what's the verdict? Has Dodge managed to pull off the impossible? In many ways, yes. The exterior design stays true to its roots, modernized just enough to look futuristic without losing that muscle car aggression. The interior finally brings the Charger into the premium, high-tech world, offering comfort, luxury, and functionality without sacrificing its driver-focused ethos. Performance is nothing short of staggering, proving that electric muscle can be just as thrilling, if not more, than its gasoline predecessors. And while the sound may not be the same as a supercharged V8, the Fratzonic exhaust ensures the Charger EV doesn't lose its voice. Most importantly, the Charger EV demonstrates that heritage doesn't have to be sacrificed on the altar of progress. Dodge has shown that it's possible to embrace the future while honoring the past, creating a vehicle that appeals both to longtime fans and to a new generation of drivers looking for excitement without compromise. Yes, it's expensive in its top trims, and yes, purists will argue that nothing can replace the rumble of a Hemi. But if the goal was to keep the spirit of American muscle alive while making it relevant in a rapidly changing world, Dodge has absolutely delivered.